Hello. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Or happy New Year's Eve at least. Tomorrow's the New Year, but Happy New Year's Eve. Tomorrow is the first day of 2026, so can't believe the years already went by. Wanted to come on and share my thoughts on a video I saw about how this new age of some of these new age women, these new age women with some of the new protocols or dating protocols or people feel might be the new dating protocols or new protocol norms where they feel that women have rights and it's about women's rights and my body my choice and all this other stuff going on when it comes to women's rights and what women will accept and women will not accept. This woman brought up the fact that that she had issues with guys basically having guys wanting her to go into these extreme fantasies, or these fantasies that were more taboo or more complex when it came to the more intimate and sexual dating part of life. And she was like, my body and my choice, which is a very, very leftist type of thing, among leftist type of women, my body and my choice, pro-choice, and all this other garbage and crap. But she was talking about how, she believes that, that as somebody who might be somebody's girlfriend, that she feels she might not want to engage in every fantasy that might be kind of like taboo or extreme for a guy. That say if the guy wanted to do something that was a little bit more like say that that you want your friends to run a train on that person, or etc., that apparently that she wasn't really into it because it seemed really extreme, and it seemed really really not something she was okay with to do with her body and etc. I think this is where it comes into where you consent to what you consent to, and you don't consent to what you don't consent to. But there's people out there that are going to love the type of crazy that you're going to be about, and that's my spin on it. Because there's people on there that you're going to love the type of crazy or the type of taboo that you are in the bedroom when you're a type of person that you are when they want to love you. Obviously there's people that have limitations on what they will do and will not do in the bedroom, and that's obviously about consent and what people will consent to and will not consent to. But this kind of goes back into some of my theories and not in my theories, but my situations where I have very taboo fantasies and things when it comes to what I would like to see happen for me in the bedroom with some with a female. I mean, it doesn't have to be a black female, but I mean with a female in general. I have some fantasies for black females, but I have fantasies for white females too. But with a female in general for the bedroom, that when it comes to what I hope somebody would consent to, and what somebody might not consent to. One of them was race play. Race play was something I was questioning about. Like I wanted to understand more about race play and what that was about, and kind of understand the concept of what that is more. But for somebody to really understand race play itself, I think somebody would have to really consent to that. That would have to be okay with it. And there's some people out there that are okay with it and are okay to the whole scenario of race play. But there's other people out there that are not. Like there's a lot of leftist people out there that might not be. But then again, there's leftist people that I know that are actually still promoting race play and stuff too. It comes from some of the leftists. I believe, this person's an adult film star, but I believe, there was Diamond Jackson is an adult film star, but she's also, I believe she's also pro-Democrat, but she also has done race play for her fans. She's also done race play for her fans, and it's a thing among some of the adult film stars. It's been some of the adult films where there's been a little bit of racial play. There's been a little bit of different things that have happened that the adult film stars consented to. But whether you can get your girlfriend or an actual like person that's not an adult film star to consent to these things, that's a different story. Because obviously in this day and age, not everybody's okay with, with their body being presented in such a way that's okay by them, Um, but it's like my body, my choice, my body, my choice, and all this stuff. But I was watching this guy talk about my body, I was watching this guy's video he posted about this woman saying my body, my choice, and going very like leftist about, how she would, accept, what she would accept in the bedroom or what she would accept among being able to participate in with her body and her choice. And I think that's where it comes into the fact that you need to find somebody who, you can grow and build with. And hopefully some of that growing and building with would also be with, with them, personally in the bedroom. It wouldn't be just like within, your personal relationships outside of the bedroom, or just in personal relationships in general, and other types of intimacy that doesn't have to do with sex. But there's a part of intimacy with sex that I think people should have to grow, should grow together with, or try to grow together, or try to bond together with. And I kind of looked at this woman and said, this is a woman that I probably wouldn't date, because I know she wouldn't be able to fulfill me in the bedroom. And she's right, she knows she wouldn't be able to fulfill certain people in the bedroom, because she doesn't have the support of trying to support the things that her man is into, or the man would be into, that would really appeal to him when it comes to the intimacy that man would be seeking. For me, there's certain things of intimacy and things that I actually would be seeking, especially with a black woman, especially with a white woman. I do like white women. I have relationships with women. I've actually had relationships with white men. I've had relationships with black men. I've had relationships with men. I'm actually ex-bisexual. I've had relationships in the past with men, but am I dating another man? No. But I've also had relationships with white women, but also black women too. So, I've dated. I've either hooked up or dated with a couple different, nationalities that were outside of my own, white, the white people included, but there were some nationalities outside of my own too. So, but I was just listening to this guy's video. I think it was Anton Daniels or Anton Daniels or something. He does these videos on Facebook about. He gives his commentary on videos on what he thinks about what people say when there's a lot to take in and there's a lot not to take in when it comes to, what people should be okay with, or how people should feel, or how he feels as a commentary person on what people are saying. Not necessarily how people should feel per se. You can take your own opinions from his videos, and I took kind of my own opinion from one of his videos, just because the woman was saying that she would not consent to certain things to please her man, and etc., because she would not be okay with that. If you can't please your man and your man's not happy sexually, then the man's not going to be with me, might not be with you relationship wise either. That's just how it is. Some men, if you can't please them sexually, or there's not a sexual thing to it, or not a relationship thing to it either, there's just got to be a balance between both for a relationship, then the man might not want you. The man might not want you. The man might want to just say kick rocks. But some people date and they just want a relationship for friendship, or or companionship. Sometimes it's not always about the sex, or sex doesn't come first. But I think sex is going to be a part of the level of a relationship when that time comes. That time comes for it, and it kind of goes equally hand in hand with the relationship. That if you can't please your man sexually, or you can't appeal to your man sexually, then you might not be able to be with your man in a relationship either, because the chemistry if you can't please him in the bedroom, how are you gonna really kind of keep him entertained for the relationship? You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, she's right though. It was her body, her choice. And for me, I was like, don't that's not a woman for me, because that's just not a woman that I would actually agree with, because she she has her rights and her choices, but it wouldn't work for me, because if she's not willing to maybe be open enough to explore the different avenues of the intimacy relationship in the bedroom, then it wouldn't be a good relationship to wouldn't be a good pick for a relationship to really ignite any fire, or pleasure, or anything that ignites excitement in the relationship. But no, I mean, I've had this question about race play for a while. I've had this question about race play for a while. I've never actually experienced race play, but I've watched, adult film stars do it and stuff. And I've had this really interested, like, fantasy of things of wanting to try to understand more about race play. Um, I came so close to knowing somebody who was very, very much what I would have looked for in a relationship, as a partner, kind of. And unfortunately, it kind of had a sexual thing to it. But and the sexual thing wasn't totally the problem. I mean, it was like, it was good. It was good until it wasn't good. The thing is, it was, the person I had met, it was like, it was good sexually. It was good. We were just talking about our fantasies and things, and we were just talking as like, as trying to build a relationship as a friendship, but we're talking sexual things, and the sexual talk was actually good until it wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? It was good until it wasn't good, because it's like, we can go so far with things, and it's like, we can please each other so far, and then there's things we couldn't please each other on, and it's just like, um, obviously, that whole relationship, I was used. I was used as a prop. I was used as a prop for money and time, and to just be there for their son, etc. But I would say it was good until it wasn't. There was a point where things were going good between us. We were sharing our fantasies, and things were becoming mutual and things, and up until the point that things were not mutual, and then things just became too overbearing and stuff, and then it wasn't good enough for us, and then it all fell apart. But it was good for a while. It was good to be that person's friend. It was good to know that person. It was good to, explore, the fantasies and the taboo with that person, knowing that I almost had similar taboos to me, which, was almost a really good thing, and it was really, really, really kind of exciting. But, sometimes those situations happen like that. Whether you can call it toxic or whatever you want to call it, it's like, it's good until it's not. Everything goes good, you feel good about it until all of a sudden you realize that certain things are just not good about, not good to you about the situation. So, but I was at one point really turned on by that person. Up until the point that there were some things that we realized that didn't turn me on, and there were some things that just were not so good about the things that once were good, or things that are good, but then there's things that are not so good. We shared our fantasies. People say to me, "Oh, you shared your fantasies with this person. You shared your heart and your fantasies and things you wanted to say or do," but it came back to haunt me. Came back to haunt me for a bullying situation where people made it about race, and people made it about, bullying and women, and, a bullying thing about women, and a whole thing between, like, oh, I'm a black man and I'll get all the black women I can, and get all the women I can because they like black men better than they do like white men, and all this other bullshit, that turned into almost like a bullying type of thing over race and women. Um, but for the most part, I understand what that woman is saying in a way. I don't agree with her, in the sense that I would actually want anything to do with her as a relationship. But she does have a right and a choice to do what she has to do, and do what she has to say. I might not be okay with this, because that's the thing about consent. You can say anything. You can say you're okay with something. You can say you're not okay with something. That's kind of what happened too with me and that person, where things were good until it wasn't. It's like we were talking about things, we were sharing our fantasies, things were mutual, and then sometimes things were not mutual, and then it's just like, I don't know if that person got scared. I don't know if that person kind of got like troubled. I don't know if I got troubled. I don't know what the fuck happened, but it just all fell apart, you know. But it's like, you know, they weren't going to consent to certain things, and I wasn't going to consent to certain things either. But you know, I mean, I think if we really kind of kept it going, we would have ran away and I don't know, hitched up in a motel somewhere or something. But you know, um, that's just how I feel. You know, that's just how I felt like so strongly about that person at one point in time. I mean, but I don't feel as strongly anymore as I once did. You know, but you know, I don't know. I mean, the thing is that, you know, people be like, oh, you know, I will consent to this, I will not consent to this, and you just got to be okay with that, you know. But I mean, you got to find somebody who's your type of crazy or your type of intimacy in the bedroom too, when it comes to relationships, you know. You can't just be like, you know, you can't just, you know, you can't. Sometimes you can't expect, you know. And unfortunately, you got to find the type of woman you want to marry. And sometimes the type of woman you want to marry, too, is not always the type of woman that would be kind of the type of woman that would be into such things, that would be open to some of these things that, you know, people do. I mean, obviously, people that are usually open to them are like the porn stars and the people who are into adult entertainment and stuff, you know. Or the people that are out for the streets and out for, you know, sleeping with a bunch of men, or, you know, partying, and, you know, all the sexual life, and, you know, the pay pigs and whatever else they want to call them, you know. But I was just thinking about the situation. I was thinking about it loud and clear. I was like, you know, you got to find somebody who likes your type of crazy, and it's not just, you know, it's like that's just my personal spin on it, because people say I'm a kind of a weird, quirky, kind of crazy type of person, you know. And I say, you know, find somebody who likes your type of crazy, your type of weird, your weirdness, your type of vibe, you know. Um, I mean, that's what makes life worthwhile. Trying to find somebody who supports your type of life, you know. Um, I honestly, I haven't really confronted I honestly confronted myself. I haven't really I haven't really talked too much in any, you know, political leftist group about race play, because, I had opportunities to talk about race play. I didn't want to talk about race play because I didn't really know how to really address it, you know. But that was one of my questionable fantasies I had, or questionable things I was possibly wanting to try or experiment with in the bedroom, you know. That's kind of the reason why I have some of the things. I have one of the things that I do that's kind of a, you know, kind of a hat. But anyways, I don't know, because people, you know, race play is kind of like racial role plays a little bit or something like that, you know. Not to make everything racial, or, you know, about, you know, race and things like that, but it's like racial role plays, just about, you know. Um, but there's all kinds of fantasies and things I have about the bedroom. I'm not going to share all of them, but I just know that, you know, find somebody who supports your type of crazy. Try somebody who supports you and what you want to do. That's a big lesson I learned several years ago. It's been 5 to like 6 years since I've learned these lessons about, you know, you know, why things went the way they did, or why things could have went the way they did, or why things could have went better, or why I could have probably sought out better, you know, at the time that I did not, and etc. But I'm only human. I'm only human. Um, but yeah, it's New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve. I just wanted to get that off my chest and talk about that for a minute, you know, because Anthony Daniels, or Anton Daniels, he's yeah, I think I don't know if he's conservative per se, but he does these videos on Facebook where he does commentary on videos, and he did a commentary on a woman that was kind of pro leftist, saying my body, my choice, and saying what she will not do and will do when it came to her sexual fantasies. But anyways, I'm moving on from that. I just wanted to say happy holidays also. I did a little drawing earlier. I wanted to call it the the blue eye cacti, because it almost looks like a cactus right there. I almost wanted to call it the blue eye cacti. I just drew it on a piece of paper here, little drawing, the blue eye cacti, just trying to see if my markers or my pens would work. So I just kind of scribbled and made a little drawing. But yeah, it's 2026. I really don't know what my New Year's resolutions are going to be. I still want to kind of carry a lot of my resolutions I had. I still want to carry a lot of them over to 2026. I mean, one of the things that might not carry over to 2026 eventually would be the Stairwell Masterpiece project, because I may be moving locations. I may be moving locations of where I'm supposed to live. As many people don't know, I got a pre-termination of my lease, so I got told my lease is being thought to be terminated and to be not honored as of November of this year. They were thinking since October, but I got the pre-termination thing in November. So November, I got a pre-termination thing like the end of November, saying they were thinking about terminating my lease. So I was told maybe by Martin Luther King Day I might get the notice to acquit, or might get told I have a certain amount of days to get out of here, and etc. when it comes to my living situation. So I've been working on packing up. I've been working on putting things in storage. I've been working just trying to do what I can do. January 15th, I have a hearing with my landlord. So my landlord and I got to sit down and we got to talk about my housing situation and my situation with my disabilities and things, and my struggles and things, to see if I can be kept in here as a tenant, or if I'm gonna have to really get my notice to acquit on the 19th, which is Martin Luther King Day, and be told I have only a certain amount of days left to be here and pack up and go. So that's actually going on, and it's a real thing where I might really have to move, and I might actually be homeless and out on the streets, or possibly, if hopefully things go well, but a lot of things don't always go according to plan, is maybe me moving back in with my mother. But that's always a big risk too, because we don't agree eye to eye on a lot of things, and we have issues over adult entertainment and tarot cards and things of being an adult and being spiritually inclined to your own your beliefs, besides things that may not be as always conservative, because I grew up with a conservative mother. My mother is conservative. I am conservative too, to most of a consent, but I'm not necessarily fully. There's a couple things I'm still kind of more spiritually conservative on than actually conservative. Like I believe in my tarot cards, and I still watch adult entertainment, but and I know I should be more conservative. I really should, give my heart, to God, and all this other stuff that, my family keeps jumping down my case. But I don't really want to have to keep giving away my adult entertainment, because this would be like the third or fourth time I would have to give away my adult entertainment for the sake of my mother. And I keep losing money, and I keep losing value in the things that I have, because I have to keep giving shit away, because she's not okay with it, or my tarot cards and stuff, which is not okay, I mean, technically, and not to get into negativity and stuff, but she was kind of the reason in my childhood is why I was also torn away from home, and some of that had to do with her beliefs and the way she acted towards me, with her authority and her being of her house and etc. When it came to me living there and etc. That's why I was actually torn away from home and put into a mental hospital basically when I was a kid. I was put into a mental hospital for being autistic and stuff, because I had they had to make really bad emotional behavior problems people felt, and I had to be put into a mental hospital because my mother couldn't take care of me, and things were so freaking bad at the home that I had to go live in this fucking psych ward for most of my childhood. So it's not a very happy time of my life to remember my childhood like it was and how my mom had a hand in stuff. But I'm trying to hope for me and my mom to heal stuff. And people are trying to say me and my mom should be able to level, and me and my mom should be able to see eye to eye, and be able to level and be able to agree with each other and try to find agreements within each other and try to find things that will work or will not work for each other and try to make things work. But I'm not willing to give up certain things, and she's not almost not willing for me to have certain things. So we're not really seeing eye to eye for this to work. But if I, at this point, if I can't, if I can't actually end up going with my mother, then I actually am going to probably be out in the streets because I'm not going to have anywhere to go as far as like my being and my situation. There's good things about living with my mother too, though. My mother is talking about me, using the basement for a painting studio. My mom's talking about me using her basement for a painting studio, to go into the basement and be able to paint, drop cloth the basement and put a table down in the basement and be able to paint, as have like a painting studio in the basement, to paint and stuff. Granted, like the summertime, I can go paint on the step or something, but for the most part, like in the wintertime, I can paint, in the painting studio in the basement. The only thing is sometimes the basement gets flooded, but I mean, she still has a basement area, which is could be more space for me to be able to, set up a shop down there than anywhere that's been ever presented to me here, living here at the towers, So, um, so anyways, it's 2026. It's going to be 2026. I have a couple of weeks before I get my hearing with the housing authority, and then I gotta go talk to them about what's going on. Then I gotta find out if I'm gonna get my pre-termination notice. Well, I got my pre-termination notice, but my notice to acquit, because if I get the notice to acquit and how many days I have to get out of here, then it's pretty much settled at this point. It's pretty much made up in people's minds that I'm not gonna be living here. I'm not gonna be presented to live here as a tenant. So I'm going to have to find other accommodations or other places to live, when it comes to my being and etc. I mean, I ordered food today. I mean, I got food earlier because the roads were going to be slick tonight because of the storm and stuff like that. So I ordered food. I got pizza. I got stromboli. I got a grinder. I ordered food so I can, have something to eat. For the next couple of days, because I was gonna order groceries and that didn't work out because Walmart's being kind of a doofus. But I got some food from the local restaurant, and that's gonna hold me by for at least a couple of days. And then I gotta hopefully I get paid or get my secondary check, and then get some more groceries and stuff then. I don't know. At this point, I'm frustrated because I don't know. Life is lifing in some cases, and I'm trying to do the best I can do. I mean, I don't really want to see my neighbors. I mean, it's like I should sit with my neighbors. I should sit with the people who are my so-called friends and sit with them. But I mean, sometimes they don't always act like friends and just etc. And sometimes I just need to be alone to just gather my own thoughts and my own situation before I end up having to make some really tough choices in life, because I might end up having to make some tough choices in life, I'm hoping not in regards to my things, though. I'm hoping not in regards to my clothes or anything else I have in my apartment, but just in general, where just the life choices in general. Besides that, but I don't know. Life goes on. I'm looking forward to changes. If I can move in with my mom, it still would bring a lot of changes that would get me out of the situation that I've been in for 15 years, where things were toxic. The things were toxic. It would get me out of the situation with things would be things wouldn't be as toxic. But I don't know. Things got to be better. Things got to be better. Situations got to be better. Life's got to be better. There's got to be more to life. There's got to be more to life than some of what I've experienced here at the towers and here by myself at the towers at times, especially during the holidays and shit. But anyways, I got to get going. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm not really doing too much anyways besides sitting here on Facebook, but drinking Coke. But I mean, I ate enough food for today. I put all the food away, so I ate enough food for today. I'm good. I'm gonna just chill out for now and get ready to go to sleep soon. Anyways, Happy New Year! Happy New Year! I don't know what my resolutions are gonna be. If I have, I'm gonna try to rewrite the resolutions. I'm gonna try to slightly rewrite the resolutions, but it's still kind of too early enough for me to really decide what I'm gonna do with the resolutions because my situation could change in a couple different ways depending on how it changes and stuff like that is depending on how I might write the resolutions to my actual year of 2026. So because I know I had written resolutions to 2025, and I thought they were going to be one way, and then situations changed, and then all of a sudden it wasn't like I fulfilled some of them, but then some of them I did not fulfill, and some of them kind of had some issues. So, um, but yeah, it's going to be a new year. It's going to be a new year. I would look forward to changing locations if I could. My mother is hoping that her landlord's gonna accept my application and say, oh, you can move in. Um, but I don't know right now because everything that's going on with my situation and etc. But anyways, peace.